What if I told you you could truly understand anyone, see their real nature, and know their hidden motives with just a couple of simple observations? No mind games or guesses, just pure psychological truth. Most people wear masks, showing only what they want us to see. But behind every smile, handshake, and kind word are subtle clues that reveal their true selves. Numerous studies in social psychology support this, showing that people unconsciously betray their real intentions through micro-expressions and uncontrolled behavioral patterns. First, pay attention to how they treat those who can offer them nothing in return. Want to know a person's true nature? Watch how they treat people who can't do anything for them. Servers, cleaners, cashiers, even strangers on the street. Someone who is kind only to those they need isn't truly kind. They're just strategic. A fascinating example. Winston Churchill was known for treating both royalty and his gardeners with the same respect. When asked about it, he said, "I always judge a man by how he treats those who can be of no possible use to him." Princess Diana showed a similar attitude, often interacting with palace staff as equals and even defending their interests to the royal family. Psychologists call this the waiter rule. It's based on the idea that a person's true nature shows when interacting with someone they don't feel they need to impress. Studies show that people with high emotional intelligence and strong moral character treat everyone with respect, regardless of status. There are clear signs to watch for: lack of gratitude towards service staff, changes in behavior depending on who's watching, overreactions to others' mistakes, using others' helplessness to their advantage. Psychological research from Stanford University showed that people who respect service staff tend to have higher empathy and emotional intelligence overall. A telling example from the business world: Steve Jobs, despite his genius, was known for his harsh remarks to lower-level employees. This is often seen as a major flaw, showing that even the most successful people can display negative traits. In contrast, Mark Zuckerberg, in Facebook's early years, made a point of knowing all the office cleaners by name and greeting each one. There's also a story of Bill Gates taking potential partners to restaurants to observe how they treat the staff. Richard Branson, founder of Virgin Group, is known for always carrying a notebook to record ideas from employees at all levels. Carl Jung's work suggests this behavior stems from deep-seated complexes and a need for dominance. His research shows that people who only respect those they fear or admire often hide a darker side to their personality. The Dalai Lama often says that true kindness is shown to complete strangers. Modern research in neuropsychology confirms Jung's theories, showing that disrespect towards those seen as below is often linked to issues in the prefrontal cortex, which handles empathy and social behavior. The second key observation is how a person behaves when they gain power. The real test of character isn't when things are easy, but when someone gets control. History is full of examples. Nelson Mandela, after 27 years of imprisonment, used his power to reconcile and unite his nation, not for revenge. Yet history also shows how power exposes the worst in people. It's important to remember, power doesn't change people, it reveals them. Psychologist Philip Zimbardo, in his famous Stanford prison experiment, vividly showed how power can expose hidden sides of personality. Another example, Mahatma Gandhi, who maintained a simple life of service despite his immense influence, proving that true greatness is how you use power to help others. If you want to see someone's true character, watch how they act when they have power. This could be power over resources, influence over others, or simply control in a situation. Power reveals the true person beneath the surface, because it removes the restraints of fear and consequences. Power eliminates the need to pretend. People no longer need to impress, beg, or play the good guy. They show who they really are. A classic example is Robert Mugabe, who started as a freedom fighter in Zimbabwe, but ended as one of Africa's most brutal dictators. Psychologists have long studied the effect of power on human behavior. One famous study by UC Berkeley's Dasha Keltner found something shocking. When people gain power, they often become less empathetic, more impulsive, and more likely to break ethical rules. He calls this the power paradox, that people often rise to power because of positive traits like kindness and empathy, but lose those qualities once they have power. This played out with Mark Zuckerberg, who began as an idealistic creator of a social network for students, but became a leader making controversial decisions about user data privacy. Why does this happen? When someone feels powerful, their brain chemistry literally changes. Brain scans show that people in power have less activity in the mirror neuron system, the part of the brain responsible for empathy. They start seeing people as means to an end, not as equals. Modern neurobiological research at Stanford University confirms these findings, showing significant changes in prefrontal cortex activity in people in leadership roles for over 5 years. Consider some examples of how power reveals character. In the workplace, imagine a colleague who's friendly and supportive when they're on the same level as you. But as soon as they get promoted, everything changes. Suddenly they ignore you in the hallway, start micromanaging, dismiss your ideas in meetings. This isn't a coincidence. It's the power dynamic exposing their true nature. Power gives them a new sense of control, and they choose to use it unfairly. The promotion didn't change them. It simply removed the mask they wore before they had authority. For example, a manager at Google completely changed his management style after a promotion, going from supportive to authoritarian. On the other hand, a person of true character will treat their subordinates with the same respect as before. Instead of micromanaging, they support and develop their team. Instead of controlling, they delegate. A prime example is Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, who's known for maintaining his humble and employee-centric leadership style after reaching the company's top position. Power isn't just in business or leadership, it's in personal relationships too. Think about any relationship, romantic, familial, or friendly. A good person who gains the upper hand, emotionally, financially, or socially, will still treat you with respect and fairness. For example, the story of Warren Buffett, who remains in the same house and has the same friendships despite being among the wealthiest in the world. But someone with a weak moral character will exploit your vulnerabilities. Have you noticed how some people change when they realize you need them? A friend who used to be kind starts putting you down when they feel superior. A romantic partner who once cherished you suddenly becomes controlling once they know you love them. This is because the power imbalance changes their behavior. If someone is kind to you only when they need something, but becomes cold when they have control, it's a serious red flag. Someone who was humble and down to earth starts treating others as inferior once they have fame, money, or recognition. Carl Jung argued that power rips off the persona, the mask we wear in society. When we no longer need approval, our true self emerges. If that self is cruel, manipulative, or selfish, it was always there. Power just removed the filter. History is full of people who started as heroes but ended as tyrants. Many dictators began as revolutionaries fighting injustice, but became even worse than the system they overthrew, proving their desire for power was never about helping others. It was about dominating them. Kings and rulers who once promised freedom became despotic when they gained absolute control. A prime example of that transformation is Napoleon Bonaparte, who transformed from a defender of revolutionary ideals into an emperor. As Abraham Lincoln said, "Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power." That's why Carl Jung emphasized that understanding the shadow, the hidden part of our personality, requires paying attention to how a person behaves when they can do whatever they want, because that's when their true self shows. This is confirmed by modern psychological research, including the work of Philip Zimbardo and his famous Stanford prison experiment. Jung argued that people don't change. These traits were always within them. Power just removed the need to hide them. Power can corrupt, but not everyone. What makes the difference? First, self-awareness. People who understand their own weaknesses are less likely to succumb to them. Someone who has explored their shadow, as Jung called it, is better equipped to resist the temptations of power. A great example is Nelson Mandela, who maintained his humanistic values despite decades of imprisonment and later gaining power. Second, strong values. If a person is guided by virtue, morality, and justice, power won't change them. They see it as a responsibility, not a tool for dominance. Third, accountability. The most dangerous people in power are those who no one can challenge. What does your power say about you? It's easy to judge others. But here's a harder question. How do you behave when you have power? Do you treat people differently when you have the upper hand? Do you only show kindness when it benefits you? Would you be the same person if no one was watching? How you answer these questions reveals your true character. If you're already dealing with a toxic person, The first step is to recognize the reality and stop making excuses for them. After that, here's how to protect yourself. First, create emotional distance. If a complete break isn't possible, start by reducing emotional intimacy. Limit what you share, especially your weaknesses or problems. They may use it against you later. Psychologists note that emotional distance is key to preserving mental health when dealing with toxic people. Second, test character in advance. Before trusting someone, observe how they treat others when they think no one is watching. Third, set clear boundaries. These people will test your limits. They'll try to make you feel guilty, manipulate you, or make you doubt reality for their own gain. Don't give in. If they cross your boundaries, reinforce them. Research shows that people with clear personal boundaries are less susceptible to manipulation and emotional abuse. For example, if they make rude remarks, say, "I don't participate in conversations that demean me." If they try to make you feel guilty, respond, "I understand you're upset, but my decision stands." Fourth, don't try to fix them. Many people spend years hoping someone will change. The hard truth is, if they wanted to change, they already would have. Instead of waiting for them to get better, invest time in people who already treat you well. Fifth, stay in control of your life. Toxic people often try to make you dependent on them. Maintain control emotionally, financially, and mentally. Have a support system outside of their influence. If it's a boss or family member, start planning ways to reduce their influence on your decisions. Studies in psychology show that financial independence and a broad social network are key factors in overcoming toxic relationships. Sixth, observe how they handle conflict. When things don't go their way, do they lash out, manipulate with guilt, or seek revenge? This is a sign of a toxic personality. Seventh, trust the signs over excuses. Jung believed that we often ignore the truth because it's uncomfortable, but the longer we ignore it, the deeper their influence on us becomes. If they act arrogant, put others down, or suddenly become haughty when they gain an advantage, see it as a warning. Now that you understand how to truly see a person's character, the question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you pay more attention to how people treat those who can offer them nothing? Will you notice how they behave when they have power? Because once you see these patterns, you can't unsee them. This awareness gives you an incredible advantage. It protects you from deception, helps you build stronger relationships, and most importantly, allows you to surround yourself with people of integrity. But it also challenges you, because if you want to recognize true character in others, you must be willing to reflect on your own. How do you treat those below you? How do you behave when you have power? True growth begins with self-awareness, so ask yourself, if someone were observing you through this same lens, what would they see? Let us know on our channel what you think.